At a time in our lives, USA was the dream of everybody to travel to. UK, the same thing. Countries like Germany were also there. At that particular point in time, getting a Canadian visa was very, very difficult, to the extent that I believe that there was a time when getting a Canadian visa was even more difficult than getting a US or UK visa. Between 2018 and 2023 especially, millions of people went to Canada. And when COVID struck, there was a shortage of manpower. Ordinarily, before then, you couldn't go to Canada with a visitor visa and start searching for jobs. And if eventually you were given any of those jobs, there was no way you could apply for a work permit from inside Canada and still be there. You would have to leave. But after COVID-19 struck, with the shortage of manpower, Canada decided to put a temporary policy in place that could allow visitor visa holders to come to Canada, search for jobs, apply for jobs, and if eventually they get these jobs, they could apply for a work permit from within Canada and still be inside Canada. And if eventually these work permits were granted, these people could start working. While we were on this, people were trooping into Canada for studies, for asylum, and due to the powerful nature of the Canadian dollar, US dollar, British pound to our local currencies in Africa, a lot of African students, a lot of students from Asia, South America, were unable to continue to pay their tuition fees, and eventually many of them decided to seek for asylum. And while they were on this, the housing shortage in Canada was growing. And eventually Canada said they had it up to their neck and decided they want to scrap that temporary policy. So as of today, you cannot go to Canada with a visitor visa to apply for a job. And even if you get that job, you have to first of all leave Canada or start the processing of your work permit in Canada and eventually go outside Canada, preferably your country of birth or citizenship, to get your work permit finally processed. A lot has changed, which is the reason why I'm coming here to let those of you who are asking me, Nosa Comedy, is it still viable? Is it still a good idea to apply for a visitor visa and go to Canada to search for jobs? In my own humble opinion, I will say, as at this time, you can apply for the visa, even if it's, at least in many cases, they can give you a 10-year visa. And you can travel to Canada and just see for yourself how things are and see if you can network. And if you cannot network, I would advise you can go back to your countries and start to live a normal life while you still have your visa. But as at this time, to just apply for a Canadian visa, especially the visitor visa, with the hope of you are going to Canada to search for jobs and eventually get a work permit and start working in Canada, that process is no longer as easy as it once was. As I make this content, a lot of people are currently stranded in Canada because some of them were misinformed. But some of them also got the right information because I have been dropping this update back to back. But when we are trying to help people face reality, they bring religion into it. Imagine me telling somebody, right now is not the best time to go to Canada because the temporary policy that was put in place that could allow visitor visa holders to come and look for job, and if eventually they get any of these jobs, they could apply for a work permit from inside Canada and start working. That policy was scrapped, I think August or September last year. But you will still see people saying, or you still hear people saying, oh, with God, all things are possible. My grace is sufficient. When I go there, God will never fail me. Are you the only one worshiping God? Are you the only person who believes in God? These countries you people are going to, are there not Christians and Muslims in these countries? Are there not people who worship God in one way, shape, or form or the other in these countries? That is why a lot of people in Canada right now are crying, because they got the updates. A policy that was scrapped last year. Now imagine as close as 2 weeks, 1 week ago, people still purchased flight tickets going to Canada with their visitor visas. And getting there now, they have realized they even came there to meet people. And the people they met there, many of them have been there for over 5 months. They are still struggling, begging for monies from their family members back home in Africa to pay their bills. Imagine traveling to Canada with the hope of you are going to be sending money back home to your families back home. And after getting to Canada, you realize that it will not be your family back home that will be sending you money. Because in these foreign countries, America, Canada, UK, you don't have a home there. Every day you will spend money. Every single day. Even if you have your house. Won't you eat? You that is searching for jobs, won't you be paying subscription for data? Won't you be taking transportation to link up with your fellow countrymen and continent women? So every single day you spend money, which is the reason why I am coming here to tell you, if you don't have anybody there in Canada that will okay your coming, please don't go to Canada with a visitor visa with the hope of you want to go there, stay in an hotel, or you want to stay in an Airbnb and be applying for a job with the hope of maybe you will get one job. It is risky. It is very difficult. You can apply for that visa, fine, because in many cases, you are going to be given a 10-year visa if your passport has a 10-year validity. So imagine if you are granted a Canada visa this year, your visa will still be valid for the next 10 years. So it's not a bad idea, you understand, to apply for these visas. But while you are applying for this visa, you can also decide to say, okay, let me just travel to Canada. If I have small money with me, or I have friends and family members, I can stay at their place in Canada. Let me just go to Canada. Spend like 1 month or 2 months. Network. Maybe I will be lucky to find a job. Hey, on that ground, you can travel to Canada. But to say you want to gather your hard-earned money, in some cases, you want to quit your jobs. You want to close your businesses because now you have a Canadian visa. It might just be the worst decision of your life. So please, don't close your businesses and quit your jobs going to Canada with a visitor visa with the hope of, I may be lucky to find a job. Jobs are currently difficult to come by. I repeat, jobs are currently difficult to come by in Canada if you are a visitor visa holder. So I am here to encourage you, not to discourage you. Save your money. Look at other options. We have countries in Europe. We have countries in Asia like New Zealand and Australia. Yankee is here, even though Yankee is currently hot. So there are options. But for now, please don't go to Canada with a visitor visa with the hope of finding a job. Especially for visitor visa holders. If you are going there with a work visa, fine. If you are going there with a student visa, fine. You understand? So me, I'm just here to let you know. Please Stay out of trouble. You understand? Because that journey is trouble. So this is the update I came here to give you, and I will be coming here to drop this update back to back. Have a good one, guys.